And hi, so I'm Liz for Kelowna Now, and I'm here with.
My name is Cybele Negris, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Webnames.ca. Tenacity. You have to be able to be, just failure is not an option. That concept has to be ingrained into you. So many people talk about passion being a key ingredient, and absolutely it's a key ingredient. You have to be passionate, because if you're not passionate about what you do, you won't fight for it. But the business world is tough, and as Canadians, I think we're so nice and we're not very competitive, and it's a tough world out there. So you have to have that grit and be able to overcome adversity. You have to overcome all the doubters around you. And I think the key ingredient is to overcome the self-doubt that, especially women, we tend to discount everything that we do. And that's really what we need to do to be successful, is to overcome that self-doubt.
So actually, that was going to be one of my questions that you answered a bit earlier about not having a tech background. Was, how to enter the tech world without a tech background. Is that smart, or what other skills would you really need to rely on?
Well, I think in this day and age, technology is something that's taught in schools. So back in my day, I learned how to type on an electric typewriter, and a computer was $10,000, so it wasn't really affordable. In this day and age, and especially with our new curriculum, kids, boys and girls, have an equal playing field, and they are learning how to code. So I think that's probably going to become a moot point, because so many kids will graduate with skills in technology. So I think with tech skills, it's just going to be translated into everything we do. You're going to have fashion businesses that require technology skills. You're going to have all sorts of retail, and even the food business, that will require technology skills. So I think essentially that's something that's going to be just a part of what everybody does, and it's not an extra skill that they'll need to learn.
So learn what you can and then hire smart people, maybe.
Exactly. I think that's the perfect answer. Yeah.
And so you're a mom of how many kids?
I have 2 kids. They're still quite young, and then I have 2 stepchildren as well.
And so how do you balance work-family life? Does it exist?
Oh man, the balance thing is something that I get asked about quite a bit, and there's a quote by Albert Einstein, and it basically says that in order to keep your balance, you have to keep moving. He says life is like riding a bicycle. In order to keep your balance, you have to keep moving. So essentially, I think balance is very personal. It depends on your capacity to do either a certain level of things or a lot, but self-care is very important, and I am very guilty of not taking care of myself and working way too many hours and spending very many years sleeping from 2 to 4 hours, and almost wearing that as a badge of honor, saying that yes, in order to succeed, you have to do this. And people would ask me and say, yeah, how do you do all this? And I said, because I only sleep 4 hours. And that's very unhealthy. So you can do that in your 20s and 30s. By the time you get to your 40s, it's just not possible anymore. So I am thinking about balance a lot more in my life now that I'm a little bit older.
So is it realistic to think that you can keep up with the trends and stay competitive if you're getting 8 hours of sleep? Or do you have to kind of curtail your expectations a bit?
No, I think you just have to work smarter. So some of the tactics that I use, for example, I want to get exercise and I don't have time to go to the gym all the time. So instead of just sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, I have a treadmill desk. So I work on a treadmill and walk while I'm working. So that's one thing I do.
We got to get one of those.
Yes, it's great. I have one at home and at work. The other thing that I do a lot is to keep learning all the time, and I don't have a lot of time to read, so I get Audible and I listen to business books and different types of books while I'm driving. So I think you just need to manage your time a little bit better, and you need help. You need people around you who are going to support you. And I think one of the huge things around success is having people who will support you, and I think women around you who will support you. So mentorship is super important. Women's Enterprise here in Kelowna, they are amazing in supporting women. They have an excellent mentorship program. In Vancouver, there's the Forum for Women Entrepreneurs. I believe they're also starting some programs up here as well. So there are so many programs available to women who want the support and just learn from the people who've done it before.
Great, thank you so much. Lastly, is there anything else you want to add, or one sort of last thing that you want people to know about either yourself or women who want to get into business?
Well, especially the women who are in technology, a lot of times I get asked, women in tech, you're in a male-dominated world. How do you survive in a male-dominated world? And the thing that I talk about all the time now, especially for young women who want to get into technology and feel intimidated, is to just look at it as an advantage, not as a disadvantage, because we all think, you go to an event, I'm one out of 100 people, and they're all men. Guess who stands out? Guess who the media want to come and talk to you? And guess who you have all the people coming up to you to speak with you, and you have the opportunity to really excel. So don't look at it as a disadvantage. Well, Webnames, we started 17 years ago. My business partner, John Demko, founded .ca in Canada back in 1987. So in fact, we just celebrated 30 years of .ca on Sunday, on Mother's Day. So we've been around for many years. We are a domain registrar, hosting company. We provide email services and a lot of online services.
So you were talking a bit before about how quickly it grew. So can you just speak to the journey that Webnames has taken, and what it was like at the start and what it's grown into?
Sure. So back in 2000, it was probably in 1999, 2000, when I met my business partner, John, and I had found out that he had started .ca 13 years prior to that, and he was running the .ca registry for free for all of those years, and he didn't charge a single dollar for .ca domain registration. So within about 4 months, we grew from 3 people to 30 people, and we did $2.5 million in our first year of operations. So that was, back then, it was a one-product .ca. We used to sleep in sleeping bags just to keep up with the demand, and today we offer over 500 domain extensions, SSL certificates, email, hosting services. So we do so much more now, and it's been 17 years.
And so after such a long journey and staying relevant for so long, what are the challenges, I guess, with staying relevant and ahead of the curve and making sure that Webnames isn't extinct?
Right, it's really tough. It's a very competitive industry. There are a lot of big American companies and European companies as well. This is a very crowded space. So what we try to do is look at service rather than the commodity of a domain name. So we answer the phone in less than 60 seconds. So that's a huge thing for us. We offer a concierge or premium level of service for especially large companies. So the corporate services is really what we're trying to focus on more, and trying to help the large portfolios, giving them ways to manage and easier ways to manage security and large domain portfolios. So a lot of customized service for that.
So it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah. And so as far as your specific strengths, I know you're going to be talking a bit about, or I'm going to ask you questions a bit about what it takes to become a successful female entrepreneur. But besides some of those, the general traits, what are some of your specific skills and traits that have got you to where you are?
Well, that's a really interesting question, actually, because the one thing I'm going to be talking about today is the imposter syndrome. And I wrote an article about it earlier this year saying that I am the ultimate imposter because I'm the CEO of a technology company and I don't have a technology background. Mm-hmm. So interestingly, I actually think that you hire smart people around you who should be way smarter than yourself, and it's the people around you that help support and make the business successful. So I think that's really where my skill is bringing together a great team and getting the people who are in the right seats doing the right thing. So yes, I don't have a technology background, but I have great people who do, who are super smart and way smarter than I am, and those are the people that I hire.